Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. My name is Maria Catherine, and today I'm going to be filming a video answering some questions about studying at Imperial and also giving you guys a little bit more information. So for those of you who don't know, I'm doing my master's in applied bioscience and biotechnology at Imperial, and that is in London. So yeah, I'm living in a big city and it's super fun. And recently I've been inquired by Imperial to do a lot of different marketing things. So yeah, if you guys want to read up a little bit more, I can have those linked below, because I wrote a little article about my entire experience if you want to have a more in-depth feel for what it's like being a student at Imperial. So on a lot of my day in my life vlogs, being a student in London, a lot of people leave comments which are similar to each other and some are quite different. So I've taken screenshots of a couple and I'm just gonna answer them first. These are my two dogs as well. This is Mila and Nalu, but yeah. So we have a couple of screenshots here. Let's see. So the first question I'm gonna be answering is, hi, would you recommend Imperial for others? How's your experience? I'm searching for what uni to further my studies. Thanks. So it really depends on what sort of field you are in, but I think as a whole, Imperial is a really good uni for any sort of degree that you're looking to do. They're very prestigious within the life sciences, which is what I'm doing. And what was the rest of it? And the general experience is really good as well. It's such a big community and I feel like everyone is sort of working with each other to just get through it and just motivate each other. And it's so funny to actually be at Imperial because I feel like everyone who I've met has such a strong passion for science. And you just get along so well with everyone because everyone has really different opinions about things as well. But it's just, all in all, such an amazing experience. And I'm so happy I chose to study there for my last year doing my master's. So another person asked, what do you study and what grades did you get? So I did my bachelor's in biomedical science at King's College London. I have another video about that. It was like one of my earlier videos. But I did that degree and I got a first class honors in that, but it really depends on what course you're looking to get into. I would really recommend just looking on the Imperial website because they have the requirements that you need to reach, and as long as you get an offer and you meet those requirements, you should be getting into the uni. Excuse the sounds of my dogs. But yeah, so because I was doing a life science degree, I thought it would be nice to follow through with a science degree for my master's as well, which is why I applied to Imperial. But I did apply to a couple other universities in London as well. I applied to King's and UCL as well. So yeah, it really depends on the uni. You need to do your research, and I understand that sometimes if you get offers for all of them, in my case I was offered a degree with UCL too, and I really wanted to do that one, so I really had to actually sit down, write limitations and benefits before firming my offer. So another comment said, could you maybe make a video on tips for applications to Imperial? Thanks so much. Yeah, I think I might do a separate video on application tips and what I would recommend, but briefly saying, I think it's so important that you really show true interest and really strong passion for what you're applying for. In many cases, I think it's easy to sort of blend in with all the other applicants because you all come from a strong background within that field, but what makes you so different and why would that university benefit from having you there as a student? So for example, in my personal statement, I wrote about how I want to contribute to the community at Imperial, how I want to get involved in different activities and different societies, and what I was going to do as a whole for Imperial. I think the personal statement is so much more than just your grades, because your grades is one thing, but then in your personal statement you really get to show them why they should pick you over someone else, and I think that's what you should spend the most time on doing. So another comment, not really related to Imperial, but I could link it some way, is how long does it take you to commute to Imperial? So for me, it takes me about 30 minutes depending on the train times, but normally it's really quick and super easy. And Imperial actually has a campus, 2-3 campuses nearby my place, and also one 3 minutes down the road. And so I think this area is really good for students as well, and I think that people should try to be within the 30-40 minute zone. If you don't want to commute too far, or if you're new in London, I think it's nice to be closer to the city center. so that you can also be with like all your friends and everything. And we made the move from East London to West London because I was going to study at Imperial, and that was totally worth it. It's a whole different vibe here, and I love being really close to my friends and the campus as well. Super easy to commute down and be at my lectures, especially when you have 9 a.m. So you need to think about that for sure, that you need to be able to be ready to wake up early and then head over there. So another question is, I'm in my last year of school and want to come to Imperial next year. How do you find the uni? So to anyone who's wondering how I find Imperial, I would just say it's terrific, it's amazing, it's everything I've ever dreamed of. I've always wanted to go to Imperial, and when I arrived, I was just so thrilled. Like, I had such a great experience, and I still am having a wonderful time. You're surrounded by people who are literally in the same mindset as you are, and you just align with people so nicely. Because it is really tough to get into this school, you know? Like, they choose people who have a genuine interest in the subject and people who show that sort of motivation to work hard. So I really was happy to be surrounded with people like that. To compare it to another uni, in my undergrad, I went to King's, as I said, and I would definitely say that Imperial has a lot more like teacher interactions, like with professors and students, as well as students working in teams. I found that there was a much better like social aspect to being able to talk to your professor after the lectures, as well as being able to interact with all your peers. Like my cohort, for example, we are about 50, I think we're like 47 or something, and as a course rep for my like degree, I've been able to interact with everyone. Like, I know everyone's name, and I never had that in my undergrad. And even like for those who are not course reps, they know like everyone. They can recognize faces, and they see like, oh yeah, I've seen you, we sat next to each other then. But in my undergrad, we were a huge group, and I felt like you sort of get lost in that there are so many people there. But at Imperial, I feel like it's a proper community feeling, and I've been so happy being here. And to finally be there is so surreal. I'm really thankful to actually be at this uni and just be surrounded by so many amazing people. It's such a great community. And I think that when you're moving to start your undergrad, or if you're starting your master's, everyone is in the same position. Everyone is starting fresh. No one knows each other really, and everyone is just willing to make friends. So it's just such an amazing time to be a student at Imperial. Alrighty. Some other questions that I'm just gonna answer. Where did I go? So my application process was pretty smooth. I applied in January, I believe, and I got a response in beginning of March. So I did have to wait a bit, and I was really nervous actually, because the acceptance rate is quite low as to like my research, but I managed to get in, so I was super happy. And I did not have to do an interview for this degree. A lot of people did have to do them, so I'm not quite sure how they do that. It might be if you are based in the UK or something like that, but I'm not quite sure. And some other things that I think I should mention is people tend to ask about like the workload at Imperial. How is it? How are you managing like your work life and your social life? And I would say that being at Imperial, and I think just all unis in general, you are sort of given the chance to just like find your own good balance, because you're given like coursework and you're given like lectures to do and extra reading, and you sort of just have to make a good schedule, plan that by yourself, and then make it work. Like when you were in high school, for example, you would have to come in every single day, stay there for 6 hours, you had to submit homework the day after. But at uni, you are given so much flexibility. And with that being said, it can be easy to fall behind. And I know I've been there before, where it's a bit hard to keep up with all the lectures that are going on. But the most important thing is that you're able to catch up and feel confident with all the material before the exams. So you can do lots of different activities on the side. Like, they really encourage students to join societies and stuff like that. I haven't joined any societies like really directly or super strongly. I do have a membership for a couple of different societies, like Women in Healthcare Leadership, for example. But I haven't like regularly attended any meetings, and that's what I like. They give you that sort of flexibility. But I do extracurricular activities outside of uni, such as like, I'd like to do different classes like spin class, I do Pilates and like hoop class. Like, I love all those sort of things, and I'm able to do that with friends as well who are studying. So it goes to show that you do have time to take care of yourself as well as being on top of everything academically. So another question is, how does Imperial support its students in terms of career development and job opportunities? So Imperial has a lot of different services. They have like different companies and like people coming in to motivate you to go into different fields. For example, my course, we would have like 5 different speakers come in one term to give us a talk about their industry, how they got into it, why science is relevant in their field, and they would go through like lots of different possible careers that they had. So for example, we had a patent lawyer come in, we also had an entrepreneur come in, we had a banker come in, like we had lots of different things. But it just shows you the broad horizon of different careers that you can go into, and that's what I really appreciate them doing, because it shows that because you're studying a science degree doesn't necessarily mean you have to follow that. They're also giving you the option to go do something else, and also you can talk and send your CV to different places at Imperial for them to read through it and make sure that everything is looking good. And there's talks about how to like ace interview questions and all those sort of things. So yeah, they do have really great services to guide you in that field. So I think I'm gonna do the last question now. What advice would you give someone considering applying to Imperial? So my biggest advice would be that you have to be willing to work really hard. I know that once you get in, you're like, wow, yay, finally I'm here, but you do need to work really hard to keep on top of everything and to finish strong as well. So yeah, it is really thrilling to be at Imperial and a really good university and be surrounded by really amazing professors who are doing so many great things within their field, and them coming to present those sort of things to you. It's so motivating, but you do have to put in a lot of work and a lot of hours to stay on top of everything. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to write them below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I might do another video where I invite another one of my friends to come answer questions with me as well. So yeah, just comment away and I'll reply to them all. Bye bye.